Set pieces. It's Farrell on it again. Deep one around the back. Quinn has scored. There is the breakthrough goal. It's Andrew Quinn. The underdogs bare their teeth and show their fight in this cup final. Drogheda United strike first.
Welcome to the We Are the Drogs podcast, the Drogheda United fans podcast, proudly sponsored by the Coffee Box.
Hello and welcome to the We Are the Drogs podcast, episode number 19. So once again I'm joined by Owen. How are you doing, Owen?
Not too bad, Niall. How are you?
Yeah, fucking great. Richie, how's yourself?
I'd love to say great, but I'm fucking not.
No, I don't think any of us are, to be honest with you. Yeah, it's just one big giant shit show at the moment, lads.
Yeah, it fucking really is, lads. It's just everything that can go wrong is just going wrong, isn't it? There's nothing going our way at the minute.
No.
Yeah. And a lot of it's just off the pitch shit, really. Like, I know on the pitch wasn't great on the Friday, but really could do a bit of positive news coming soon.
Yeah, we really need some good news, lads.
Is there any coming? Is there any rumours floating around? Have you heard it? And I'm not asking you to say what you've heard, but is there any good news coming?
Nothing
I'm not
concrete,
getting much information.
just the odd rumour. Like, I'd heard we were signing Declan McDade, but it appears he's going to Oriel Park, so fuck him.
Yeah, well, in fairness now, if that's his fucking level of ambition, you're better off without him.
Yeah, apparently I read somewhere that he wasn't very fit playing at loan, but
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, one bit of good news. I think their leading goal scorer's out injured for the rest of the season, so hopefully the wheels fall off that one. But look, we'll not talk about them. Where to start, lads? Even talking about the game in Derry seems pointless at this stage, but we'll talk about it anyway. Overall, it was horrendous.
Yeah, simple as that. Yeah, simple as that. There's nothing else you can say about it. And you know what, lads? We haven't even laid a glove on the team the last couple of weeks. We haven't really. We've done nothing.
No.
yeah, it's been very flat.
Hasn't it?
And even Kev said in his interview that they've had the stuffing knocked out of them, and you can kind of see it, and you can totally understand it as well.
Yeah. Like, we didn't even create did we create a chance against Derry?
Yeah, we did, yeah. Alua had a shot in the first half, saved well.
Right, okay.
Struggling after that to think of any. I'm sure we must have one or two more.
That's it. One chance. I looked at the stats. We created one chance.
Yeah. And I thought the first 20 minutes there was a bit of a slow burner, alright. Like, Derry didn't do much in the first 20 minutes either. Then all of a sudden, once they got the first goal, it was just, that was like it. It was just, got the second one then straight away and gone. Game over. Done. Well, it was because we weren't scoring two.
No, definitely not.
No, you could see heads dropping, like, I mean, and then there were two terrible goals to give away, but one after the other. It was reminiscent of last year. It was just, I agree with you. The first 20 minutes was a bit of very cagey. I mean, I don't think they didn't create, we didn't create anything, and then they started dominating the ball after about 15, 16, 17 minutes. And yeah, Jesus Christ. I mean, second half, I think we were better. We didn't create an awful lot going forward, but look, we did look a bit more creative. We got into the box a few times, and we got the ball down the sides a few times, and a few bit fresh legs, lads that aren't getting much of an opportunity as well. Because I mean, I think Kevin knew the game was up at that point. Just throw a few lads on and pull a few of the lads off who just looked jaded and wrecked. And I was going to say they didn't look very interested. Maybe that's a bit unfair, but you can definitely see that, as you said, Owen, they've had the stuff and knocked out of them like big time.
Yeah, absolutely. You can just, and I said it last week as well. I get the feeling a few of them are playing and carrying knocks, and obviously we have a good few out injured already, and it's just started to take its toll on us, really.
Yeah, no, it is. And like, you know what? And I'm paying the whole talk about the session, and I know you do as well. But like, it can't be just a simple fact of us not wanting the ball. Or like, what is going wrong? Why can't he play football? Like, fair enough, I know we sit in and we've said it here 100 times, that's the way we set up. But surely when we get the ball, we have to look to play football and create a chance.
I think the fact Markey hasn't been starting due to his injury, I think that's probably a big factor in that. He's our best ball player in midfielder, like, by a mile.
He is, he really is.
Yeah,
like,
but
we can't depend on him.
Yeah, I was just about to say, he's not our only ball player. All the rest of them are professional footballers. They can fucking pass the ball 5 yards to another claret and blue short, but we don't seem to be doing it in the last 3 weeks. We just seem to be hoofing the ball as far up the fucking pitch as we can. And it seems to be that's the instruction. Because if that wasn't the instruction, Kevin would be tearing his hair out, roaring at them, which I know he is anyway, but not for that reason. And you know what I mean? It's just aimless hoofball. And at this level of football, it's a bit embarrassing.
It is. And like, is not only not doing this on purpose, but is there a bit of a protest going on here to say, look, I need more players in. You know what I mean? This is the style of football we're going to have if I don't get players in.
That thought crossed my mind as well.
You know, it's a dangerous game, all right. It is a dangerous game. I'm not saying he's throwing games or he's doing that on purpose.
No, I don't think he is.
But is he saying, look, I need help here, I need players? Yeah.
I do think it's probably just a lot of it's down to fatigue as well.
Yeah.
It's just the energy levels aren't there at the minute, I think.
Yeah. And I feel sorry for Ryan. Like, it's not fucking fair. Ryan doesn't need this at his stage of his career.
No.
Like, we can't be dependent on Ryan Brennan to pull us through games. As good as he is, and I love him as a player, but can't depend on Ryan to be pulling us through games.
When you say fatigue, Owen, then you're obviously referring to the whole European debacle. It's not like physical fatigue, because we've no excuse for that. You know, we've played a couple of more games than you know, all the teams that weren't in Europe. How do I phrase that one? But, you know, it's mental fatigue then, isn't it? It's just something's going on in the back of everyone's minds and everyone's pissed off and it's hard to concentrate on your game because there's no way the lads could be tired physically because they're after having a break.
No, I think it's a bit of both. Obviously the Europe stuff is impacting them mentally, and how could it not? But I'd say there's a lot of lads playing with knocks and stuff, and even subconsciously just kind of conserving themselves or not running as hard, just with the worry of getting their injury or making it worse. That's my thoughts on it anyway.
Well, yeah, there has to be a reason for it. Like it's because there's definitely something going on. Because if you compare, you know, the last 3 games to, you know, the first 3 or 4 games, it's night and day. It's very worrying.
It is, yeah. And like, even going back to the start of the season, like, right, we didn't have too much recession either, but we did play football, and we did have a go at teams at times.
We did create a lot more.
Yeah, we were just kicking the ball away, and like, it's really ragball Rovers stuff at the minute. Like, you wouldn't see it in the Leinster Senior League. It's so bad. It's so frustrating. You can see why fans are so annoyed at the minute.
Yeah, I mean, I think even Kevin's interview after the game I found quite refreshing, to be honest with you, because he more or less just admitted that we were just crap, and said he wasn't angry and he wasn't annoyed at them, and, you know, normally he would be, and he understands why, you know, that we've all been through the ringer. I mean, we're going through it as well. I know them players are professional footballers and this is their job and they were going to go and actually play the games, but, you know, it's fucking hard for everybody. Jesus Christ, that's all we've talked about for the last 3 weeks, you know, on air and, you know, in private messages, and you meet somebody down the town, or, you know, it's a massive, massive deal for all of us. Like, I'm feeling the bloody fatigue from it, for God's sake, and I'm not even involved in a football club, just as a supporter. It's hard to deal with, like, and the really hard thing now is that we're going to end up talking about a lot of other stuff tonight that's just making the whole thing worse. You know what I mean? We've no positives to sort of talk about tonight. And I think, you know, normally we do try and
So I'll look at the positive and the negative if the negative needs to be talked about. But I think, as a whole, we're quite positive about what we talk about. But there's just nothing positive to talk about, is there, at the moment?
No, there's not, the performance on the pitch, the injuries, missing out in Europe, and we've seen as well, if you'd have posted up lately, the lack of communication from the club of anything.
Yeah, it's dreadful.
It is. It really is bad because it's hard. I hate blaming people, especially people who follow the club and volunteers. But there's just nothing coming from the club. There's nothing. Are these owners of ours now sitting on the boat somewhere, sunning themselves?
What sort of thing are you looking for them though? From them? What sort of communication?
Signings incoming, just little small things like that, Owen. A few players might be coming back from injury. Tell us when Josh Thomas is coming back. Is he going to be back for Galway? Is he going to be back for the cup game against Crumlin? Little small things. Every other football club out there does this, except Drogheda United.
Well, you said about signings. What if there is no signings made as of now, and there's nothing signed? Why would you announce something that hasn't happened yet?
Well, there's definitely going to be some. There has to be some. We have to bring in a few bodies. And just say that. Just say signings incoming. We'll let you know when they are.
Well, then people will give out saying, oh, that's too fucking vague. You can't win either way.
Come on. Yeah, I think you're going too easy on them. There's literally zero communication between the football club and the support base, man. I feel. And you think it's okay, do you?
I didn't say it was okay, but I'm saying you're looking to talk about signs, but no signs have been officially made, or if they were to be announced, you can't just say something's coming, unless it's on. Usually they do a teaser on the day, but they're not just going to go out and just generalise say, oh yeah, we're signing somebody. They're not going to say that. It's pointless.
Yeah, look, I do get both the point, but I could just say, look, the club is actively working on signing players. It only seems to be dotted every little snip now and again that, oh yeah, we're looking to bring in players. I know, I do understand it. It is a tricky one. You can't just say, this is what we're doing, but it just feels like we're getting nothing though, Owen, doesn't it? We're just...
But if there's nothing to be said, what do they just put out some generic shite like that doesn't really say anything? People give out about that as well.
No, and I do. I get the silence bit. All right, okay, we're not done negotiating with players. All right, but as Ray said, that injuries. Let us know. Right, so feelers of Thomas back training or doing something on the gym or something. Say, look, this is an update on our injured players. Or look, Mark, he's injured at the minute. Little things, but we get nothing.
I often wonder about the injury thing. Are they deliberately not saying stuff because they don't want the opposition to be aware of that?
Yeah. But look, I think I know what you're saying, we're all just pissed off and frustrated at this.
You don't want to say Darren Markey's definitely out for Friday, so that's giving Galway information, that sort of thing. You're not going to... That's just an example or something, yeah. I agree, the communication could be better, but there has to be a bit of substance to what they're saying. They're not just putting out stuff for the sake of it. That's my point.
Yeah, no, I get that as well. It's just, don't know.
I know, it's probably on the signings as well. I know, it's fucking day one of the transfer window, but Sligo have announced, the Rovers have announced a couple of signings and stuff, so it's probably seeing other teams doing their business already, and we've nothing in just yet. It's probably a little bit annoying, but once there's a deal done, we'll hear about it.
I was just about to say though, Owen, you would imagine, right, that behind the scenes for the last few weeks that these deals are more or less done. I know football's funny. Players kind of decide at the last minute to go somewhere else and all that, and you're not going to say anything until the deal is done, but you'd be really, really hoping that the club have at least, I don't know, 2 or 3 pretty much deals done as we speak. You know what I mean? Kevin's been looking at these players. Kevin, anytime we've brought a player in that we didn't know about, Owen Lamb, he said he was looking at, for a year before he actually came to the club, and you know what I mean? The man does his homework. He would have had this planned probably at the beginning of the season. I can't get this player now, but I'm going to try and get them in the window, and then they were probably in some sort of communication with various players from around the place over the last few months, because I'm sure, Warren Davis is still a Drogheda player as of today, but God knows, in the next week or so he might not be, and the chances are he won't be. And then obviously we've lost somebody else who we'll talk about probably a little bit more in depth later on. So I'm sure that the club were well aware of the fact that he was probably nearly gone. The statement that they put out, which we'll talk about as well, just as a fucking joke, to be totally honest with you. But yeah, I don't know. I'm probably babbling now because of the frustration. But I do find Drogheda United, for years before these owners have come in, before Kevin was there, or before any of the people behind the scenes, they were dreadful at communicating with supporters. Really, really dreadful.
Yeah, no, that's true.
Yeah. It is, look, as I said, everybody is frustrated, but you see Sligo after announcing 2 players today, so they're obviously been working on them the last. That didn't just happen this morning.
Yeah. No. Well, I'm sure once we, I've no doubt, as you said about Kev, and the recruitment's been quite good and it's very thorough, so I'd imagine there's discussions been held, but we're just not finding out about them. It could partially be a fear of if some other club gets wind of it, they'll try and snatch a player. Like, I'm sure it's happened before.
Yeah, no, we get that, alright, yeah. No, it's a good point. But, we're just badly need our players, aren't we? We want them now.
I do think that as supporters, just for a bit of a lift, we do need to hear something soon.
Oh, big time. We really do, because it's not but bad. Like, every time my phone goes, the WhatsApp message, like, I'm nearly afraid to open it. I was like, what the fuck? What? What's coming now?
Yeah, we need, in my opinion, we need something positive before Friday, because there could be a toxic atmosphere at that game, and I know there'll be a decent crowd at it, because even season ticket holders this year is fairly big, and I can't see people not going to the game over any of this stuff, but it'd be great to go into that game with a bit of a feel good factor, and try and put on a decent performance, and just get something for the crowd to cheer about, because the crowd has been unbelievable, through thick and thin, and I'm not saying for 1 minute that I don't think they will be on Friday, but I just think Travella, and I'm talking about Travella here when I say the club, they fucking owe us one, and they owe us one big time. They need to get their fingers out of their arses and open up their wallets and pull in a few I was going to say big names, and I don't know what a big name player is in the League of Ireland, but bring in a couple of profile players that we're going to be wow, I wasn't expecting that type of a player. That's what they need to do, just to try and make amends for what they've done.
Signings, that's what you're looking for.
Who?
Marquee signings, that's the phrase you're looking for.
Dara marquee signings.
Fuck's sake.
Yeah, but you know what I mean. You know what I'm saying. Like, it would be great for, and I can't even think of these players off the top of my head. I don't know who they would be, but there's a couple of lads returning from England. Fucking James Brown, or one of them type of signings would be just unbelievable if you said, right, here's their intentions. They know they've made a balls of this, and they're backing Kev big time with the checkbook. That's what we need. Whether we get it or not, I don't know. My faith in Travella at this moment in time is rock bottom. I just think they've made up balls of too many things now.
Yeah, look, I'd be the same as I said it before. They definitely fucking owe us. Like, I just hope they're not burying their heads in the sand here with all this going on. Are they aware of the frustration coming from the fans? Are they aware of that draft of fucking letting one of our fucking players go to a fucking rival within the same fucking league as us? Like, are they aware how much that fucking hurts fans? Like, do they give a shit?
Like, you're right, you just have to mention it, so we might as well talk about Douglas James Taylor going to polls, in case anyone out there isn't aware. I'm sure you all are, but and right, not only is it a serious kick in the nuts, as you just said, Richie, for a player to go to a rival who we've beaten twice already this year, right, like, we're battling for Europe, they're battling for Europe, they're in a great run of form, we're not. So to lose a player that people absolutely took to their hearts. Like, everyone loved that man in Drogheda, and I know you had a kind of a personal relationship with him, not personal, but you met him off the pitch quite a few times. And I'm not going to like, this isn't personal against him. He kind of has made it a little bit personal, to be honest with you, when you do sign for a rival and all that. You know, he's going to get a lot of stick, maybe, and maybe he deserves it, maybe he doesn't. You know, I'm not taking away from what he did when he came here. I think he was great last year, scored loads of penalties, few goals, you know, cup final, blah, 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 blah. But it's just kind of soured all that for me now. It's just kind of ruined his, whatever legacy he would have had if he had went back to England. I would have been disappointed, but I would have went, oh, well, you know, it's an opportunity to go back to England. But he goes down the road and signs for Bowes. I mean, it's just sick.
Oh, it is, yeah, and I'm fucking gutted. And, like, yeah, as you said, look, I've met him a couple of times. Like, as you said, it's not personal. Sound chap, dead on, lad. You know what I mean? But it's a football side. Like, I'm looking at this as a football side, not like a personal thing. Like, I met him on the street tomorrow, I'd shake his hand, be no problem. But football side, like, and like, apparently we've offered him a good contract. Like, he obviously didn't want to stay with us. Is that just the main thing? Like, we've offered him a good deal, and he toned it down. You know, now he wasn't our player. He was Walsall's player. I think Walsall offered the contract as well.
They did.
Yeah, so like, he wasn't our player, but we did offer a contract. He's after winning the cup with us. The fans took him. He was idolised by the kids and the fans. And now, like, he just goes up the road, a half an hour up the road to it. Yeah, it just doesn't sit well with me.
Golden rule of football, lads: never fall in love with a lone player.
No, and that's true, Owen. And like, I know, and I get that as well. But you know, it's like, yeah, I don't know what to say about it, lads. I'm fucking gutted about it. I really am gutted about it that he'd go to Bowes. As you say, Briggs, if he went back to England, I don't think I'd be that upset about it. But he's gone to a rival within our league who at the minute go toe to toe with for a European spot.
Yeah,
you know, it's just. It doesn't sit right with me. It doesn't.
And it has to be said, right? His press conference was a fucking dig at Drogheda United, and it was a bit of a kick in the balls for him to come out with the possession thing. Oh, what are you most looking forward to? Oh, actually, you know, being the team with the possession. That to me is a real slight on Drogs and on Kevin and on his other on the lads who he's been through thick and thin with since last July. I mean, he didn't have to say that, you know what I mean? There's no need for that comment. Maybe it just slipped out and he didn't mean it, but that made the headlines in the Sun online and all loads of articles I ended up seeing today. I was at work and I was on my break and went onto my phone and I seen loads of articles, the Sun and the Mirror and some other football website. I can't even remember which one it was, but you know, Dougie looking forward to having more possession at Bowes, you know, and you're like, oh yeah, thanks a fucking million for that. Like, you literally won a cup with Drogheda United. You said that was the best football day, biggest day of your football life, and you have to go and say something like that. First time you open your mouth at Bowes is to kind of slag off us.
Yeah, and that's it. And like, we sort of are a club that gives players a jump start, don't we? We seem to get players going at our club, and then we lose them. You know, and he was struggling over Walsall, and then when he came over to the League of Ireland with Drogheda, we took him in and he kicked on, and he was after getting this move to Bowes. You know, so it wasn't that bad with us, was it? You know what I mean? We got a full career going.
Fucking right, we did. I mean, I don't know. Look, you know, if rumours are to be believed, and these are only rumours, and we've all heard it. Like, we were trying to make him our highest paid player since 2007, basically, since the glory days. And the deal that he was offered here was absolutely massive.
Yeah.
And he still refused the deal. So you have a lot of people online kind of throwing shit now at Trevella saying, you know, they didn't do enough to keep him, and you know they're not doing what they said they'd do and all that, and they have done nothing to help themselves now. When you read this carry on about Trevella thought that if he didn't sign if he signed for another club that there'd be compensation play out. What was all that about? Did you catch all that on?
I just had a quick glance at it. Yeah, it's over like basically the rules. If you sign a player, it's to do with ages and stuff. Like I know we got caught out of it with James Brown. We didn't get any compensation for him going.
Okay.
Basically, if a player's a certain age or is below 24 or something, they're supposed to get compensation. If they sign for a team in the same league or jurisdiction or something, you get compensated. I can't remember the exact, but yeah, it seems like they dropped the ball on that one again. It's obviously Walsall missed out on a few quid from how much it is. Probably not that much, to be honest, but yeah, it's just still not a great look for them.
Yeah, and it sounds like a ridiculous excuse anyway, because I mean, if Bowes really wanted him, Bowes would have paid the money for him. Like, how much would the compensation have been? I don't think it would have been that much. You know, about 20, 30 grand or whatever. We got that for James Clark a few years ago off Bowes mid-season. So there's no way they weren't going to pay the same money for Dougie.
Yeah, and look, I'm going to say it, the rumoured figure is that he's in or around two grand a week at Bowes.
Yeah, I heard that.
On top of accommodation, I've heard the rumours he's got a car and also got a few grand in like a relocation bonus. That's just a rumour I've heard, but yeah.
Relocating from Clotterhead to Phibsborough.
Yeah. That's like,
and he's on a 3-year deal, is that right?
2.5, I think, yeah. So he'll be this season and then the following 2.
Right.
Apparently we offered him, we did offer him something decent, but obviously wasn't going to match that. And look, it's easy to say it now, like he's not one of us anymore. But he hasn't really set the world alight this season since he came back from injury, has he?
No.
Yeah, no, definitely not this season. But just go back to now. I wonder how these owners got like a wage structure in place, have they? And say, no, look, this is as far as we go. We ain't spending any more on Drogheda or Walsall. That's it. You know what I mean? If anything goes above that, it's gone. Good luck. You know, like, could Drogheda not offer him a new car? You know, could Drogheda not give him more money? Like, can we not match Bowes and say, right, they're giving you 2, we'll give you 2. We'll give you 2.5. Or did they come down to Dougie just not want to play with us anymore?
So you don't, we'll never know the ins and outs. You could have even said, if whoever's doing the negotiation said, oh, Dougie wants this, to say, no, fuck him, he's not worth that, like. Could have went that way as well.
Yeah, exactly. We just won't know.
Yeah, no, I'm sure there definitely is like a wage structure and everything in place, and I know, obviously Kev's dealt with our budgets when we were part-time and stuff, a bit more to deal with now. But look, now that Dougie's not there, should free up a bit more budget for him to actually sign someone. We'll see how it goes. Jeff, fuck Dougie anyway.
Yeah.
We've got 2 goals this year, one from a penalty and the one against Sligo. I know, right, the way we've been playing, he's had to do a lot of donkey work and stuff, and he's been playing really deep, so that's probably partly why he hasn't scored as many. But how much of a loss is he at the minute? Like, especially the way we're playing, like they're not.
Yeah, no. Look, I mean, at the minute he is a loss, but look, we'll see who we sign in this transfer window. We'll definitely know more at the end of it what players we brought in, and then you'll say, right, look, this. Look, you could bring in a striker now that's going to be a better option than Dougie. That would suit our style of play.
Yep.
You know, and then you'll say, right, fair enough, Dougie's gone. We have such and such now. We're fine. We're grand. But we won't know now until these players come in, if we get these players.
So what are we looking for? We're looking for a big 6'3" or 4" kind of, you know, menace up top that we can launch the ball up to. Sean Boyd, that kind of a character.
It is like say Georgie Kelly, you know what I mean, which would be a good option.
That kind of a player, like.
Yeah. Why not? Like, are we capable? Are we capable of going and getting these players in? Is the question.
Yeah, no, it is. It is absolutely the question. But you know what? The other thing that's kind of soul destroying here is because, you know, last year kind of coming out of what we came out of, winning that playoff and all that, you thought, right, no, we're on an even keel now. There's a bit of a level playing field in the league now. There's 10 teams, all full time, and all offer decent deals. With European football, you know, we're going to be able to attract some really, really decent players. And especially in the window, we thought, right, you know, we're definitely going to have to bring in a few reinforcements here, but it just doesn't feel like, you know, I don't know how attractive the football club is at the minute compared to, you know, other clubs up and down the country. Like, you know, Galway don't seem to have any issues sort of bringing in people from, you know, from bloody New Zealand and all over the place. But, you know, is it anything to do with our ground and our training facilities and all that? You know, I know we've a great fan base, great atmosphere. You know, we're doing all right as far as in the league. We're in fourth position. So you're kind of dangling that in front of a player saying, look, we're in fourth. We want to compete for Europe again. But it just doesn't feel like, are we that attractive to try and get players in the door? It just doesn't feel like we are at the minute. I don't know why.
Yeah, and you know what? It's just going to come down to the simple fact of fucking money. Like, if you want to start competing with your Bows money-wise and your Shamrock Rovers and your Derry, you have to spend money in this league. You have to throw the wages at them. You really do. You know, you can't just keep scraping through on a low budget and expect, like, Bows will come in now and get more players off us. If we bring in another one or two players on a year's contract or a 6-month loan, Bows will just come in and snap them up. And the funny thing is, what happened then, you go to Bows, what happens, they play well at Bows. Rovers come in and snap them up off Bows. You know?
Yeah.
So, I mean, Bows think they're Billy Big Balls. But if Dougie goes and does well out of Bows over a year and a half, Rovers will come and sign up and take him off Bows. You know, and that's just the way it works in this league.
Yeah, it's every league in the world, really.
Every league in the world, yeah. And the money does talk, and it's the bare fact of it. Spend money. Give the players the wages. That's what it's all about. Dougie went to Bows for money.
Yeah.
Simple as. Went for money.
Yeah, no, look, I kind of get that, right? But what I was kind of saying was, I really felt at the beginning of the year, before we'd signed anyone and all, I thought, right, we've got owners in now, a few bob, and, you know, as I said, some sort of level playing field. Can we go and sign, you know, some quality now on 2-year deals and just stop this fucking boom and bust carry on where we just lose all our best players every year, and now we're losing some of them in the middle of the season, because obviously we're going to be talking about Warren Davis in a few minutes as well. But like, I know money talks, and I know players all now put these clauses into their contracts that if somebody comes looking for me, there's a release clause there. I think the release clause for Moses Dyer was like 30 grand for that club in Cambodia, and he wanted to go, and there's nothing Galway could do to stop it, because if you trigger the release clause and you pay the 30 grand, the player can go. You know what I mean? It's just modern day football. But we seem to be really, really vulnerable, even in comparison. I know Sligo were after losing a player as well to go back to the UK. I can't remember his name. Is it Reece Hutchinson?
Hutchinson's good player.
So, yeah, very, very good player, and he'll be badly missed over there. I think he was one of the better players. Like, so, look, we're not the only ones, but, you know, I don't think we're in the same market. No way we're in the same market as Bows and Rovers and Pats and Derry for signings, because they just seem to be able to swoop in and dangle massive amounts of money in front of people's faces and just take players. I mean, that's just the nature of it. It's the way the league is at the moment. Like, I think we're definitely down on the sort of bottom half with Sligo, even Cork City. I don't really know. They seem to have brought in a few. Your man Carl O'Sullivan, there's a rumours that he's not going. He's going to remain with them until the end of the season, which is huge for them. But as you said, Richie, if Trevella want any kind of stability or any kind of success, they're going to have to pay for it. Like, it's just, that's the nature of the beast.
It really is, and we have to get away from these loan signings. It's not worth the fuck. It's really not. It's not, and it doesn't work going forward. Like, they were after signing Elisha. Well, no, Walton signed Elisha, and he gave us back as loan. You know what I mean? Right, I know he's unfortunately got injured, but like, he goes to have a good season, and then he's gone. Like, how do you build a team when you know your best players are going at the end of the season? Or as you said, Greg, so halfway through a season. It doesn't work. They have to get away from that model.
Yeah, I think we are trying to get away from it. It's just, it's not going to be an overnight thing. It will, and Trell have said this, they work in like years and stuff. It's not going to be an overnight. It will take a lot of time. I'd say we're gradually building up, and that's the thing. We're just still behind everyone else in terms of other things, budgets and facilities and stuff. That's probably why we're getting the list of loan signings in and stuff. We're trying to get there, just not there.
No, yeah. I don't know.
Even start to be like offering some of the lads 2-3 year contracts. So it gives them a bit of security, and also gives us, if somebody wants to come in for them, they're going to have to pay for them. So that's, I think that we probably should see. I'd like to think we'll see a bit more of that now with some of the lads who offer 2 or 3 year deals.
Is there any players that have been on a 2-year contract with Drogheda? Is Keeley on a 2-year contract?
Not sure, to be honest.
Like,
I suppose it was kind of hard for us as well to offer them when we were tipped to be finishing bottom. So if you want to be a bit more of a stable Premier Division club, you can offer it. But like, even some players be like, geez, I don't know about signing a 2 or 3 year deal at Drogheda. They're favourites to go down. That sort of, also, you know, fucking cunt agents in their ears as well. Like some of them, they put in like really shitty release clauses.
Yeah.
Like you won't get a player unless there's a release clause that's really low and someone else will sign them up. It's the way fucking agents are and that. So.
You could always insert the release clause though. If we're relegated, I'm gone. I mean, that's very commonplace in world football.
Yeah,
so that's not a biggie, I wouldn't imagine. But you'd love to think, lads, that Dennison, Keeley, Owen Lamb, they're, you know, Darragh Markey, obviously, they're players that have stood out and all got like Player of the Month awards. These players need to be nailed down. We do not need to be losing any of them players in the off season, because the goalkeepers are fucking gold dust as well. Like, and I mean, Dennison has been very, very impressive, and Conor Keeley's been just absolutely monstrous. You can see Derry coming in and just snapping him up. You know what I mean? And I know he's gone before. If he goes again, he goes. But you know, you'd like to think that if we had him down, you know, sign him on if he's on a deal to the end of the year, at least get him on another year. And same with Owen Lamb, if he wants to stay. I'm not sure what his plans are. I know he's an American, but you know, like maybe they are. I don't know. I haven't looked into it, but I mean, is that information fairly easy to find? How long a player is on a contract? I'm sure it is, but I mean, it's not something that I've looked into. But we really need to start thinking about it as a football club.
A lot of the time now, it actually isn't. Like, you'll see Bowser, it's like a multi-year deal.
Doesn't say how long.
Yeah, like it could be 2. It could be 2 with an extension or an option of another year. Like it's not as public as you think it'd be now. You used to get Dolphins that has signed a 3-year contract or whatever, but it's a bit more murky now.
Yeah. No, look, it is tough, and look, it's still a League of Ireland as well. It's still way behind, isn't it, when it comes to player contracts?
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, like even probably Rovers, their players wouldn't be on that length of a contract. Maybe Rovers are, but
I'd say some of them are.
Some of them are, but like surely, as you said, Greg's like, offer a player a 2-year contract, right, with a clause in it. We get relegated, you're free to go, you're free to offer, I mean, no problem. But give players a good contract and say good stability and say, right, I've wages for the next 2 years in this league, good wages, you know, with an option, right, things go wrong, but I have an escape route. But it's just this 6-month loan or sign a player for a year, and then come the end of the season, they're all free agents. Like, all the players are free agents.
Yeah.
It's something and not only, I think all League of Ireland clubs need to get away from it. It's such a bad look.
Definitely, yeah. Another thing you can do is if you're offering someone a 3-year deal and someone's offering a 1-year, the 3-year deal could be for less weekly. So that could entice the player. He's not getting as much a week, but he's guaranteed like the 2 or 3 years could help as well.
Yeah,
depends how greedy the fucking player is, I suppose.
Well, look, as you said, Owen, fucking agents are probably ruining all this.
Well, they definitely, like, again with these release clauses, like that one of Moses Dyer, John Caulfield's come out and said that if that clause wasn't in the contract, they weren't getting him.
Yeah.
And he's gone over to Cambodia. I think he's getting $100,000 a year after tax.
Yeah, I heard that.
It's about €1,600 a week after tax. And
Right,
Cambodia is quite cheap to live in and stuff, so you can see why you went, like.
Well, he went as well.
Yeah, Derry activated the clause as well. He turned Derry down and went to Cambodia, so.
Well, apparently he really wanted to go back closer to home because, I mean, Cambodia is not kicking the ass away from New Zealand, like, so he wants to be close to the New Zealand squad to try and make that for the World Cup qualifiers and all that, because obviously he was involved in New Zealand football to that level, so he thinks he has a chance of maybe getting a call up for New Zealand, so that's one of his main reasons for going that way.
Ah, yeah, you can understand that.
Yeah, no, I can understand that. Look, if Dougie had a fucked off to Cambodia, I'd be sitting here going, well, best of luck to you. Instead of Poxy Fibsborough, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then, lads, to make it worse, then you go and bring another fucking jersey out of my favourite band on it. Piss me right off once again.
Oh, God almighty.
The amount the lads send me pictures of the jersey. Are you going to buy this? I said, I'm going to be fucked buying it.
It's nice jersey, to be fair.
Yeah. I see there's a class meme up. Somebody put Jack Bones stood in a Rover shirt with Blur written on it. I just thought that's class.
Yeah. You can fuck off with that jersey, so they can fucking bring the new jersey every 2 weeks.
They can fuck off nicking all our players, the cunts.
Yeah.
At least they're losing James Clark.
Yeah, I know, yeah. Ha ha. Delighted. That's what you get. Yeah, lads, more good news is the Warren Davis rumour has started hotting up again as well today. Blackpool and Reading, and still I read there's some Serie B team in Italy, but Blackpool seem to be the favourites to sign him.
Yeah, I think they've been looking at him a while now, haven't they?
Yeah.
Blackpool.
Yeah, I think I remember he might have went on trial over there maybe last year.
He could have, yeah. And you know what? It's a transfer that, look, I'd love to keep him, don't get me wrong, but I don't think it would bother me as much if he goes, because I don't think you hold the likes of that back, you know. I think we wouldn't be good for him, you know, and as you said, Greg's before, it's a good opportunity, you know what I mean, to get a good contract and make a few quid. So that one wouldn't hurt me as much. I'd understand that, like that one. I don't want him to go. I hope he stays for the season. But if he does, I don't think I'd be that upset.
And here,
look,
go on, sorry.
I think they're roughly saying we might get around $100,000 from small money in football terms, but that'd like nearly equal what we got for Wogan, I think.
Wogan was 130, was it?
I don't think it was that much.
What's it not?
But you see, gradually over the last few years, the fees we've been getting for players, it's gradually going up and up and up. Just hopefully it keeps that way. Like, look what Killian Phillips went for. Was he under 50 grand?
Don't know.
Remember, Manny went for 50. Wogan got around 100, whatever it was, and Dave's is similar. And look, with the sell-on clauses and you can go in clause for like international appearances and stuff like that. You can get a bit more money then. Like, so instead of we're on like a journey of improving the club and stuff, we're gradually getting there and we're gradually getting more money, but it will take a lot of time.
Well, no, definitely. As long as they put that in the fucking contract and don't drop another ball. We've already dropped 2.
Look, I'm sure they're fucking well included with them sort of ball. Like, as far as I know this was before they came in, but someone told me we had international appearance bonuses with the Killian Phillips transfer. I'm not sure that is now, but
right, okay.
And it was quite a lot. It was more money than the transfer basically. Now, he's made the 2 appearances.
Yeah, look, I suppose I'm just going back on the point you made there, but look, the club is going the right direction, isn't it? It's like if the season was end next week and we finish where we finished, what like the success of the season that would be for a team that was favourites to be relegated. You know, I mean, like if we finish top half now this season, that's a success, isn't it?
Absolutely, yeah. 100%.
And I know we were after having a few kick in the teeth there the last couple of weeks, but if we look at the bigger picture and we get news on the new ground, hopefully, and we make a few quid off Warren as well, the season will go down as a success.
Yeah, people need a reality check as well. Like in terms of budgets, we're still probably, I think Greg mentioned it earlier, but I'd say probably maybe Sligo could be the only club with a bit less than us.
Yeah,
That's a fact.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, definitely.
Ken's problem is he started too well, and now we've had a few bad results. He kept getting on his back.
Yeah, I know. Like, just to say, Owen, like, fair play to you. You obviously have a bit more faith in Travella when you were saying there. You'd imagine they would be able to handle the Warren thing and that. All my optimism towards them is sort of draining away, to be honest, because the two things that they're after doing, I'm like major drop the balls. Like I'm like, fucking hell, who are these people? I think, a lot of people have gone quite easy on them over the European thing. There was a few people getting fairly wound up about it, but most people were looking for someone else to blame. Blame UEFA, let's blame FIFA. Sorry, FIFA, blame UEFA, let's blame the FAI, let's fucking blame anybody but Travella. But, I mean, that's a major clanger. And then all of a sudden they go and Dougie does a runner because Travella thinks that no one else was going to come in for him because of a compensation fucking payout or whatever. That sounds very amateurish to me. They've made themselves look fairly stupid now twice in the last month.
I'm not sure that's true what you said there about them not. They were expecting compensation, but they still offered them a deal at Walsall, and we offered them a permanent deal as well. They just thought they were still getting compensation regardless. So look, it's a bit of a mistake, but I wouldn't say it's a fucking massive clanger, same as the European thing.
Well, what I read in whatever it was said that Travella didn't think that another League of Ireland club would want to come and pay the money for Dougie, and that's why they were quite content to think that we would be able to sign him. Now, maybe I'm getting that completely arseways, but
I think they were hoping that we would be the only ones, because we probably waived the compensation fee, but.
Yeah, but does that not sound a bit mental to you?
There is no compensation fee. Huh?
Does that not sound a bit mental to you? Knowing like Derry have that kind of money and Pats and Bowes have money to be thrown around, $2,000 a week. Yeah. I mean, I'm sure Travella know what these clubs' budgets are and know what kind of wages, because that's their job. They need to know what the average wage is and what the higher end of the wage scale is in the Premier League in Ireland. You know what I mean? They need to know these things, and I'm sure they do. So are they thinking, right, this lad has been a bit of a sensation since he came in. He scored a lot of goals, albeit a lot of them from the Benno spot. Were they not thinking that some of these clubs were going to come in and swoop in and try and sign him? I'm sure they were, but look, we don't want to probably go down the Dougie road again. But it's just my faith in Travella at the moment is waning. I have to say.
I know, I get that, but at the end of the day, like, Bowes offered him a contract, Drodd offered him a contract, Walsall offered him a contract, and he went with Bowes. I'm assuming it was more money. It's the end of it, really.
Yeah, no, yeah, look, it does blame that, but should Jordan not have, been on this 6 months ago? On Dougie?
I'm sure they've had conversations, but again, we wouldn't be privy to it, but
yeah, but knowing his contract was up in 6 months, and all of a sudden just leave it to the end. Why wasn't Dougie offered a contract 6 months ago with us when things were going really hot, when things were good?
Because he wasn't our player, Richie. He was Walsall's, and that's where it gets really complicated. Because Walsall probably was saying, "Look, the manager's here now. Maybe the manager might have left Walsall at the end of the season, and they might have won the league, and they might not have." And there's so many sort of variants there that it was probably impossible to nail down Dougie, because who knows what way Walsall would have been and Drodd.
Yeah, but it's the same owners of the boat club, but the owners not looking at this as a business sense and saying, right, here's a hot property here. We have them between our two clubs. Let's sign them up for Walsall. Give him a 2-year contract, and we'll give him back to Drodd for another year's loan.
Well, they offered him a contract at least 6 odd weeks ago.
Yeah.
It was announced just after the playoff final that he'd been offered. or you're in discussion with him. So like
after the playoff against Bray.
Yeah. No. I'm saying the League Two playoff final. It was announced around then that they'd been speaking to Dougie. So for all we know, Dougie could have just only decided there a fucking few days ago.
Yeah, no. Look, I get that, but I'm saying, why didn't we offer him at the end of last season when things were going really well? We knew, we didn't know we were going to be kicked out of Europe, obviously, but the team was playing good football. We were flying. We just won the cup with Europe to look forward to. Why not hit it then? Why leave it so late?
So we don't know if we left it so late or not.
I know.
That's Well,
we obviously fucking did because we didn't get him. I needed them all to get him.
When you didn't offer enough money, that's the fucking nuts and bolts of it.
When you say we, Richie, when you say we, you mean Travella, as in, Walsall and Drogheda, like we could have sort of came to some sort of agreement that even if Walsall didn't want them, that they signed them and then loaned them back to us, that kind of thing. Yeah. I don't, like, that to me, we were talking about earlier on, we need to get away from all these loan players. That to me, we're kind of going down a dodgy road, man. I mean, it seems to have scuppered Waterford a few times over the years where they got loan players from, who's their sister club in the UK? Yeah, they got players in from Fleetwood and then them players went back, and there was other players sent over from Fleetwood who were shite. And at one stage it was kind of hard to kind of differentiate between Fleetwood and Waterford, who's who. There's that many players coming and going. And like, I know they can work in your favour, but it can also kind of scupper any chances of sort of longevity, like we were talking about earlier on. If we can keep on getting like lads in from Walsall and they might be here for 6 months, we don't know, or they might be here for a year, like Alicia, and I think that's the nature of the beast now. I think going forward, that's just going to be the way it is with us, because it's the nature of the multi-club ownership. And I'm surprised Walsall weren't kind of sniffing around Warren Davis, considering they're looking at Blackpool and other clubs in and around them going, right, well, they want the player at Drogheda, we could have forced dibs on him type of thing.
Good point.
I'm very surprised about that, but it's not a model that I'm too kind of pleased with, but I think it's just the way it's going to be going in future.
Yeah, no, good point, yeah. It is, look, we already said, we definitely have to get away from that model of loan players and players coming and going between clubs.
I think 1 or 2 isn't too bad, but you don't want to, I think your max you're allowed to have is 5. I think 5 is probably too many. 1 or 2 isn't too bad. But I think the likes of Waterford, they just send the players over, and I don't know how much say the manager has on that. They're just like, these players are coming over, they're going to be in your squad. As far as I know, that's how. So I don't think that happens with us. So I think Kev has to say, I'll take him, or Kev doesn't get players thrown at him, as far as I know.
Yeah, I think Keith Long was kind of thrown under the bus there. He ended up with players that he didn't necessarily want because of the Fleetwood thing, and look what happened. They ended up getting rid of him. So yeah, we don't want to be going down that road. But look, like, right, lads. So Dougie's gone. Right, bon voyage. Enjoy yourself. Warren is 99% gone. Would you?
Yeah,
I would say so. Yeah.
Yeah, it feels that way with the media stuff and that. And so if the two of them are gone, that's 2 players up that end of the pitch that we need to replace. And we've been talking about this for weeks now, with bringing in, midfielders and stuff like that. So I think we need to bring in about 5 players, lads.
Easily.
Minimum.
Yeah, we definitely need 2. We need probably 3 strikers and 2 more centre midfielders.
But if Josh Thomas coming back, hopefully fit for the rest of the season, we could have him and 2 others, couldn't we? Because we still have Alua.
Yeah. And look, Bossa Carney.
I wouldn't even bother saying his name. He's never getting a look in.
No. Look, as somebody said as well there, made a good point there one of the days last week. We've got a lot of points on the board without Dougie. Dougie wasn't in the team to start the season.
Yeah, it's very true.
And then when Dougie did come down, I'm not saying it was Dougie's fault, but when he did come back into the team, we sort of started to
struggle,
drop off a bit.
Yeah.
So maybe Dougie, like I see a few lads saying he didn't suit our style of play, Dougie. So maybe things won't be as bad as they are, lads.
Yeah, look, things will be a lot worse, lads. Really, in the grand scheme of things,
That's the spirit.
they can do. Like in all seriousness, like what were this time last year we were as good as relegated. A lot of people seem to have forgotten that. Like,
oh man.
Like,
Yeah,
lads, I stand the High Court the day we nearly went out of existence, so I've seen a lot worse than what's going on at the minute. Maybe that's why I'm not too fucking doom and gloom about it. That's nobody's dead.
Yeah. No, look, it is. And look, as I said earlier, everybody's just fucking frustrated and pissed off between the style of football and injuries and the Europe and losing Dougie now. But look, this transfer window, it's only open today, lads. It's only up and running.
Yeah.
It could be a different story now in 2 or 3 weeks' time. But as Greg said earlier, made a great point. Wouldn't it be nice to have something for Friday night?
Yeah, just to give a bit of a lift. Yeah.
A bit of a lift, yeah. I think everybody needs it. I think the team needs it. Doherty needs it. Just, even if he mightn't play, but just announce him. Bring him out at half time. You know. We need that.
Yeah, I think we do. That's a good segue into what's coming Friday night, lads. So players wise, we don't know obviously about injuries coming back into the team. Again, Josh Thomas, I'd love to see him even as part of the match day squad. I don't imagine he'd start the game, but you know, we don't know whether we're going to have Warren, because could that deal be done by Friday and he might be gone, or will he play and then go? Or we just don't know.
He had a bit of a knock as well, hadn't he?
Is that why he was out of the squad?
Yeah, I think that's it, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, who else is out? George Cooper? No word about him?
No.
I don't think it's as bad as it initially feared. I think Kev sort of mentioned he'd be back relatively soon.
Okay, that's good. You'd imagine Bulger will be in and around the team. He seems... you'd imagine he would be.
Yeah, he can't be too far off. He can't be.
Yeah. That's what they're the words I was looking for.
Yeah.
What about Darren Markey? Seems to be holding an injury now for a while. It's about a month, isn't it?
Yeah, he just looks...
Every time he
goes on, he just looks to be struggling fitness-wise.
No, he does.
Yeah. So we need to get him back firing as well.
What about just on a football note, because we haven't talked about much football. I didn't think Aaron Harper-Bailey had a great start to the game the other day in Derry, but I think he kind of grew into it. I think he kind of did all right in the second half.
Yeah,
he did. Second half, I thought he was okay. Again, tough for him. Like, hasn't had a lot of minutes all season to be kind of thrown in away to Derry. I know he came on against Cork as well, but with 2 away games, it's not the best time you want to try to get minutes under your belt. Like, so, yeah, it didn't start great, but he was all right second half.
I think there's something about him, and I would agree with you, Owen. I think the more minutes he gets and the more confidence he gets, he could grow into a decent player.
Yeah, and he's got that throw-in he has is a bit of a weapon.
Yeah, it really is.
Yeah, monstrous.
He's a big lad, he's very strong.
Yeah, no, he is. He has a habit
as well.
Yeah, he has a habit of sort of booting the ball into Rowe's head, but I mean that's a bit of a characteristic of that team at the moment. So I won't hold that against them. So yeah, look, what are we talking Friday? Well, what's our thoughts on that game? I mean, we know what Galway are like, we know what they bring, and they're just a nightmare to play against. We've done all right against them. Yeah, we haven't. We lost. We drew one and bloody lost one, didn't we?
Yeah.
So we haven't done all right against them.
Yeah, no, we've seen, look, at home now, I think we've definitely put up some. I think we've struggled there and there a bit alright in recent times in Galway, but definitely at home now. But, as we said earlier, it's a bit flat at the minute, with the crowd as well, it's a bit flat and everything that's going on, so I just hope that doesn't play a part on Friday night. But, I definitely think we can go beat them Friday night.
Really?
Yeah, I do, and I know I was very downbeat last week away to Derry. I don't know. I just feel like at home Friday night we can. Yeah, I think we can. You know.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. Yeah. I'm not as negative as you, Greg.
What?
So I'm not as negative as you.
About what?
Friday night.
No, I'm just thinking of the bloody home game. The last home game against Galway was one of the worst games of football I was ever at. It was fucking horrendous. They're just not.
It's going to be a slog, I think, but
I don't mind that.
Yeah, look, they're missing Dwyer as a big loss. Obviously, yeah, we're missing loads as well. See what. I don't know, up front, we're probably, if Davis is fit, I think it'll have to be him and Alua, but who do you think partners Alua if he's not?
You don't really have too many options, do we?
Bawa, Bossakani, or Kareem?
Jesus, that's a good one, isn't it?
I would say,
for the physicality of Galway, Kareem could do well up against them. Easy,
yeah, I would imagine against Galway, that's who you're throwing up there because he's a big boy and we haven't seen much football out of him, but physically he could match the Galway lads because they're massive. They're a big, big team. And I can't see Bossakane getting much joy against them.
Yeah, it's mad just saying that though, isn't it? Because the goal he scored in Talca Park last season.
Unbelievable.
You thought he was just going to really kick on. He hasn't got a look in.
No. He must not be showing enough in training or something. That's. Yeah. But look, maybe he'll take right if Warren's going and he does get some minutes. If he decides he wants to step up, like he can throw his name in for starting selection. We'll wait and see, I suppose.
I said this to you in WhatsApp, I think, but like he did treat Warren like that as well. Though Warren wasn't getting much of a look in. He was kind of coming on in fits and sports here and there, and you weren't seeing what we ended up with the player we ended up with at the beginning of the season, a lad that was going to go and score like 7 goals. I didn't see that in Warren.
No,
did you?
Definitely wouldn't have seen that. No, we wouldn't have seen that after last season.
No. So hopefully maybe Bossakane is one of them, you know what I mean? He start throwing him in now because he's no choice and he'll just, as you said, Owen, he'll just step up and if he got 1 or 2 under his belt, you just wouldn't know, because he definitely has it. Like the boy can still, like that goal he scored in Talca was unbelievable. And then he scored those goals last year in the Cup, the hat-trick in the Cup, and he has an eye for goal, I'm very surprised we haven't seen more of him.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And football's it is a funny game. It can change so quickly, football. A player coming in, you'd say, Jesus, not going to do much. All of a sudden he turns it on. He takes his chance.
Yeah.
You just don't know.
Yeah.
You have to give them a crack, don't you? You have to trust them.
Look, if you trust him enough to sign the player and have him in your squad and, he's a full-time pro training every day, I mean, unless you've made a real sort of error in judgment, and now you're thinking, I don't know whether I should have had this lad along for the ride, but, he threw him on in Galway in Derry the other night, so, if we do need somebody on Friday against Galway, I don't know whether I'd start them in that game. As I said, your man Kareem would be a bit more of a sort of a physical presence, but, he needs to start throwing him on here and there 10, 15 minutes and sort of build up his confidence because the boy must be shot for confidence, like.
Yeah.
Just on Bossakane, he's a strong lad as well. I know he's not as big as Kareem, but he is very strong.
Yeah.
I always remember reading up just on his background and stuff. When he was 10 in Sligo, he was playing for the under 14s. He was that strong as a kid, like.
Right.
Okay.
So I know he doesn't look at that as the present, but he is a strong lad as well, and he's quick. I'd like to see him get a bit more, maybe in the cup game as well in Crumlin. That could give him a few minutes as well, or even a start.
Definitely. But look, I think there's a bit of a track record there. I'm not sure Kevin trusts a lot of the young players as much as other managers around the league. I mean, if you look at Sligo, I think their game against Galway, they had 5 lads from the academy ended up on the pitch because they were missing so many bodies. And he still has them playing lovely football, like even the young kids, like. That's why Sligo ends up selling on so many players.
Yeah.
And then you got see for Elding as well when he goes.
Did you see the Elding goal against Bows?
Oh, brilliant. Goal of the month anyway. I know Shane Farrell's up for as well, but no, I fucked for Eldon.
Yeah, an absolute smasher. Left foot, whap. Unbelievable.
Yeah, and I wonder now, will he be snapped up this window, will he?
Hasn't been much
Haven't heard
talk about it. But,
Ahead bowls are looking at him as well.
Oh, God.
Cunts.
They're going to get him a Happy Mondays jersey. He's delighted with himself.
Yeah, we'll have another fucking jersey for that signing as well.
Yeah, Stone Roses, or I don't know.
Fuck off, I like Stone Roses too, don't be at it.
Some other has been fucking band that are reuniting for money, you know, one of them.
Yeah. Come here, lads, and has Emery got Adam Foley's number?
Yeah, you do.
Yeah. I'll give him a buzz for Friday night.
We could have fucking do with him. He retired a year too early.
He fucking did. You'd still love to have him, wouldn't you?
Yes, I would, absolutely. Lads, look, we're going to wrap it up, and we'll do the usual predictions for Galway. Owen.
3-1 rather.
3-1 Drogs. All right, go on, Richie.
Yeah, no, look, as I said last week, it was my first time predicting defeat. Don't like doing it, but look, we definitely, our luck has to change. It has to turn around sometime, and it's going to be this Friday night. I'm going to go 2-0 Drogheda.
Right, I'm going to go for a 0-0. Yeah.
Boys, didn't he, Owen?
Sorry, lads. Sorry.
Boys kill, yeah.
Yeah, no, you know, I don't know. I think that's the first draw I've gone for, but yeah, 0-0. I don't know where the goal's coming from, especially if Warren's gone. But sure, look, we won't know until then. And yeah, another fun-filled week ahead. Hopefully, a few signings in, and we'll talk to you next week, lads. Enjoy the game Friday. Hopefully, see you there.
All right, man. See us Friday.
Yeah, see you Friday.
Cheers.
All the best, guys.
And the fishermen come, and the fishermen go, and the water gets dirty all the time. Pollution, it's killing all the fish, and it's hard to make a living on the point. Less than 20